you let fear win, you're not just wasting an opportunity, you are wasting your life. But get this, UCLA researchers found that one simple act reduces activity in your brain's fear center instantly. You want to start a business, find a partner, ask for a raise? This is the one technique that can make all of that possible. And I know this firsthand because I've gone from a broke, overweight college dropout who was completely paralyzed by fear to a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur who's reinvented his entire life. And no, it's not because I'm special, but it's because I stopped letting fear run the show. To do this, we're gonna start by understanding what fear actually is and how it works in your body and your mind. Then I'll show you the tactics you can actually start using right now to finally break free. All right, let's first start with the body. The human body has a fear response system built in, and it's been around forever. It's called your sympathetic nervous system. Most people know it as the fight or flight response. This system actually has 4 reactions it can trigger. So the first is fight, which is you confront the threat. The second is flight, which is escaping the threat, so run the hell away. Third is freeze, so become still and quiet so that the threat can't find you. And the fourth one is fawn, which is when you try to appease the threat so that it won't hurt you. Now, this made perfect sense thousands of years ago because if a tiger started chasing you, your survival depended on this system firing instantly. So your brain dumps chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol, which gets your body ready to move, and that is an appropriate response if you're actually in physical danger. But if you fast forward to today, most of us, I hope, aren't getting chased by tigers anymore. Instead, almost all of the fear that we deal with is created in our own minds. These are things that aren't actually dangerous, things that haven't even happened yet, and things that probably never will. Now, the Oxford Dictionary literally defines fear as an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous. The key word here is belief, not reality, just the belief. And the way this shows up today is in the whispers. It's, I can't quit my job. What if I fail? My coworkers will laugh if I post content. I'm too stupid, I'm too ugly. And the worst part, half of these whispers are subconscious. So you see an email from a pissed off client or a boss, and you see someone's highlight reel on social media maybe, and suddenly you're spiraling underneath the surface. And those thoughts can trigger the exact same fear response in your body as if a tiger were actually running after you. Think about that. It can trigger that same response. But instead of running across the open plains or in the woods or forest or whatever, you're sitting in an office chair, you're lying in bed. So what happens? Your body still releases these chemicals, but you don't burn them off. There's no physical action. And research shows that this can lead to chronic anxiety, fatigue, burnout, irritability. In other words, your nervous system thinks your boss is a tiger. And there's an entire body of research on this. One well-known study from UCSF showed that everyday psychological stressors activate the same core neural threat circuitry as physical danger. So here's the big idea. In modern day life, fear thrives in the shadows of our mind. That is where it has the most power. So what do? We have to shine a light on it. And that's where this tool comes in, which has totally changed my life. It's something I created and I call it the Fear Ledger. I use it like a catalog to kind of show all the fears that come in my life and I document them all. So whenever I feel a negative emotion or tension in my body or resistance, I pause and I ask, all right, what is the actual fear behind this? Because almost every single time I feel that way, there's some fear or some belief I have that is causing it. So something happened, a thought comes up that triggers the emotion, which it all links together. What I've found in my own life is that when you see that, you just have to start peeling back the layers so you can find what the actual core belief is. So let me show you an example of how this might look, right? So on the surface, I might say something like, I'm afraid to start a business. But then you ask yourself, well, why? And the answer might be, well, if I fail, I have to start all over. Well, then you ask, well, why is that scary? Well, the answer might be, well, it would be embarrassing to crawl back to my old boss. Well, why is that embarrassing? Well, he'll think I'm a failure, so will my coworkers and my friends. Well, why does that matter? Because I hate feeling like a failure. So do you think you're a failure? I mean, I don't know, but I'm afraid of being one. And boom, now you've found the real fear. The fear isn't, I'm scared of starting a business on the surface. Yeah, that's what's happening. The fear is that you don't want to be a failure. You don't want to be embarrassed. So you'd rather just avoid all that discomfort than actually put yourself out there. And this is where that fear ledger comes in. In that scenario, I would just literally go and write it down on the spreadsheet. You document it. And by doing that, you're bringing it into the light. But then you keep going. Maybe I have fear of running out of money. I have fear of being judged. I have fear of not being good enough, fear of wasting my life. Whatever shows up, write it down. And seriously, write it down. Because when you leave it in your brain, it just swirls in there. And it causes all this chaos in your life. And you might be aware of it at one moment, but then you forget about it and it fades back into the shadows. That's why you have to write it down. I can't stress this enough. And then when we write these things down, for each of them, we ask follow-up questions. So we ask things like, okay, what triggers this fear? What is the thing that causes me to react to it in the first place, right? So understanding the triggers. Next is like, what is the underlying belief? And is it true? And here's why this process works. And yes, it's backed by real neuroscience. Researchers at UCLA, they did a study where they took people that had intense fear responses and they asked them just to put the fear into words, label it, and describe what it's like. Describe the fear. And what happened? Their brain's fear center, the amygdala, literally reduced activity, while at the same time the prefrontal cortex, which is the rational part of the brain, it lit up. So in other words, when fear is named, fear loses power. Another major line of research on exposure therapy shows that when you confront a fear directly, even through writing it out, the brain forms new safety pathways, and they override the fear-based ones. So when you write your fears in the fear ledger, you're not just doing some, woo-woo journaling exercise. You are literally rewiring your brain to make the fear smaller and to bring your confidence up. Again, this is so important because like in my life, right? I've done this exercise and I have an example where my wife and I were arguing about spaghetti sauce, which is so stupid, right? And we don't really fight really at all. I mean, we weren't fighting, but we were arguing. And she had basically left out, she made homemade tomato sauce, right? And then I cleaned up all the dishes, did all the stuff, and then we went to bed and we came and woke up the next day and she basically asked me like, hey, it looks like you forgot to put the spaghetti sauce away. And my instant reaction was like, well, I didn't fucking forget. Like, you forgot to put it away. Like, I cleaned up the dishes, so in her mind, it's like, well, when I was cleaning up, I probably would have put them away. But I was like, no, I was just cleaning the dishes. You're the one that failed. I didn't fail. And like in that moment, I caught myself because I was getting irritated and so defensive over something that doesn't fucking matter, right? And I traced it back and I'm like, man, I have like such a serious fear of failure that it actually manifests in my life in the most ridiculous ways, like this spaghetti sauce scenario. And this happens all over the fucking place. Like these crazy beliefs or root fears impact our actions and our beliefs and how we interact with each other, and we don't even realize it. But now that I have it written down, it brings awareness to it. So during the day when I find myself with that feeling of maybe anger or anxiety or whatever it might be, I can remind myself. And I can even reflect the fear ledger document and go, oh, that's fear number 12 that's impacting me right now. And just like that, finding what the fear is, like my mind is able to overcome it then, because it seems so ridiculous in that moment. And I can literally feel the negative emotions just go away because now I've closed that loop and I've realized how it's really not applicable to me. I can't tell you enough how much this has helped me out. And my hope is that if you do the same in your life, that you'll find similar results. So write your fears down and do it consistently and shine a light on them. All right. And then watch what happens as you start to reclaim your life. Cool, so if you like that video, then check this one out, or where it is. Oh, and one more thing, and I need you to say it with me. Fuck fear. Peace. Catch you on the next one.